Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet. Chandrasekaran will step down as chairman of Tata Sons once his term ends in February next year and will not seek reappointment, bringing an abrupt end to a nearly decade-long tenure in which he transformed India's biggest business group into a conglomerate spanning airlines, semiconductors, electronics, batteries, and digital businesses. His departure follows disagreements within Tata Trusts regarding business performance and capital needs. The group's revenue and profits saw substantial growth under his leadership. Chandrasekaran's exit creates a leadership transition for the conglomerate. This occurs as the group makes major investments in new ventures. Earlier, Chandrasekaran proposed that the reappointment decision be deferred until a consensus was reached, a tradition upheld by the late Ratan Tata. Notably, Chandrasekaran joined the Tata Group in 1987, became TCS's CEO in 2009, and before taking over as Tata Sons chair in 2017. His tenure as the chairman saw the group tackling major crises, including the Air India crash, pricing pressure at TCS, and a cyber attack at Jaguar Land Rover. All right, we're going to talk about this with our guest. Joining us up front and on the top of this conversation is Mr. T.V. Mohandas Pai, Chairman of RN Capital. Mr. Pai, always a pleasure to see you, sir. Thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking to NewsX. Sir, first up, what do you think is the reason Mr. Chandrasekaran has stepped down? Obviously, the telltale sign so far that we've been able to sniff out is that there was some sort of a dissonance, for the lack of a better word, with the board.
I think Chandra stepping down right now is tragic for the Tata Group. Chandra is an extraordinary leader, one of the best corporate leaders ever produced in India. The way he managed TCS and grew it into one of the most profitable companies, the largest software service company from India. The way he reformed the Tata Group after Ratan Tata stepped down. And the way he grew the business and getting them to newer businesses like electronics, like airlines and others, and digital was remarkable. Because please remember, it's a very, very old group, very straight, very conservative. And for them to go into new businesses and invest heavily was a very big thing. And I think the Tatas are losing a good person. The reason why he stepped down is that I think he's been treated very shabbily by Noel Tata. We have a new Tata as a head of the Tata family. And sadly, the new Tata, Noel Tata, has no performance to speak of to become the head of the Tata family, except that he happens to be a Tata. Compared to Chandra, I think Noel Tata doesn't stand anywhere. It's important for us to understand that the Tatas say they stand for excellence, for good corporate governance. But the way they treated their CEO so shabbily, in such a humiliating manner, is not done. And all of us Indians should stand up and point it out. We expect better from the Tatas. And Noel Tata, being new, should have done much better and not to treat such a great manager who's transforming the Tatas, who's done so much of work, so much benefits for them. The largest cash flow to Tata Sons come from TCS, which Chandra built. And the money has been used to pay back debts. It's been used to invest in other companies at the time it is needed. And he's done a great job. And the fact that they did not decide for 6 months, they went on pending, they went on questioning. There's no way to treat a professional manager by anybody who controls the business. And the Tatas sadly look like a family business now, where the Lala, pardon my language, I want to use it, Lala decides who is going to be the CEO. There are no norms, and you humiliate a man. Why humiliate a man for 6 months? You should have decided either way. If you don't like him to continue, you should have met him and said that, look, Chandra, I think we should part ways and let's do it nicely. It would have been fine. For 6 months, you kept it pending. You went on, stirring in the waters for no reason, and forcing Chandra to finally stand up for himself. And Chandra is a out-and-out Tata loyalist. Out-and-out Tata loyalist. He's done great work. There's no way to treat a person. It's very disappointing for the Tata Group. And a big blot on Noel Tata as the leader of the Tata family, and now controlling the Tata Group as the chairman of the Tata Trust. He stepped in the shoes of Ratan Tata. And Ratan Tata would never have done this. And, I don't think JRD would have done it.
In fact, sir, this was going to be my next question to you as well. Do you think such a situation would have arisen if Mr. Ratan Tata was still around?
No. No, because Ratan Tata inducted Chandra into the board, and I remember I was called on TV and said it's a big blow for TCS because he's done so well. He could have taken the company further. But whatever it is, Ratan Tata brought him in as the first, non-Tata to be heading the Tata Group, because Cyrus Mistry was before Chandra was part of the Tata Sons family, right? His family owned 16%. So I would deem it an insider. But Chandra was essential, outsider, and he did a remarkable job. And Ratan Tata invited him and gave him all the full powers and never interfered. And Chandra did a great job. And the way he's been treated as a professional manager by a person who controls everything, and you don't keep him waiting for 6 months for a CEO, right? I mean, you don't do that. If you don't want it, just talk to them and sort it out. And now it's become a public role. It's become a public role. It should be a public role for a company which claims to be ethical, for a group which claims to be ethical, follows values, and says we are the gold standard for India. This is not the gold standard for India. This is not done. And I think it's very, very disappointing that Noel Tata is responsible for all this, a big blot on it.
Mr. Pai, one last question. I know you have a paucity of time, sir. What next for the Tata Group? They've had these leadership vacuums and problems for almost a decade now. Legal battles, of course, Cyrus Mistry, and then the demise of Mr. Ratan Tata, and now this, of course, not to forget Air India. What's next for the Tata Group?
Well, first of all, like Chandra said, the Tata Group has to get a new CEO. Now tell me, which global great CEO would want to come and become chairman of Tata Sons from outside if they have to, if they're not confident, they'll be given full autonomy and treated with respect, right? The way Chandra has been treated. Who will want to come? Which very good person will want to come, and the whole world is at their feet? And they can do whatever they want and earn whatever money they want. Why will they come? And if you get an insider, what is the assurance that the insider will have freedom of action to run Tata Sons based on some principles as a board-managed company? I think it's very important for this to be debated right now across the country, because the Tatas happen to be the biggest group. Maybe looking at all this, I think the Reserve Bank of India to take a stand that Tata Sons should go public. Probably the behavior like this will probably improve, transparency will improve, because so much is at stake. It's India's largest group. India's largest group, and the holding company of India's largest group, which is unlisted, who the chairman of many of the listed companies, is treated so shabbily. And for 6 months, his reappointment has not been finalized at the time when the business is very crucial. Right now, there are many things to be sorted out. Air India has to be revived, and I think capital has to be introduced. That's very important. And now the steel mill, the steel business in Europe for Tata Steel has to be seen what has to be done. Maybe the exit or whatever it is, will be making losses, even though Tata Sons India has done well. The digital business, Tata Digital is growing and possibly reducing losses. The future has to be decided. And then there is the Tata Electronic business with the chip OSAT factory setting up in Assam, and that has to grow. And all the new OSAT investment that are happening, which is very critical for India, and that has to grow. There's enough capital. You require a leader to take a lot of decisions in multiple areas, and that's why Chandra decision that you need a leader who can decide. You can't go on postponing. You need a person who's good for the next 5 years. I waited for 6 months, and you're not decided. So let me step down, and you people do what you want. I think to me, it's very tragic, very, very tragic.
Fair enough. All right. Mr. Pai, always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for your insights, sir. We appreciate it. All right, let me also bring into the conversation Dr. Sharad Kohli, Senior Economist, Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya, President of the CDEP Research, and last but not the least, Mr. Dilip Cherian, Image Guru, is also joining us on the program. Dr. Kohli, I'll begin with you. Well, you heard what Mr. Pai said. He said it's a travesty that somebody who's contributed so much to the Tata Group is being let go of in a fashion, though he may have resigned in full view, is being let go of and treated this way. Do you concur with what Mr. Pai said, Dr. Kohli?
Good evening, Vineet, to you, the viewers, and my fellow panelists. I beg to differ here because I would not like to rather go into the personal rift between Noel Tata or N. Chandra or the two factions and so on. So I think N. Chandra has done a fantastic job for Tatas. It's been 40 years now. 2027, he would complete 40 years exactly. It's almost 39 years. He's going to be there till 20th of Feb 2027 anyway. I think he's done a good job. All good things have to come to an end one day. I don't somehow agree to such a strong reaction to that because there could be other reasons also. There could be issues at both ends. We will rather not like to go into that. But what is more important and what I think the viewers would like to know, Vineet, is that where does Tata Group go going forward? What is the future of Tata Group? Well, Tata Group is now a professionally managed group. Family members are there, but they are hardly there. If you look at the size of $290 billion empire, they are hardly family members and they are hardly playing any role. They may be playing role in Tata Trust and of course Tata Sons to a certain extent. This indirectly or directly controlled by Tata Trust for that matter. But I think the good thing which is emerging is that a group like Tata is becoming more professionally managed. Despite when Ratan Tata stepped down, it was being felt that who's going to run Tatas. But N. Chandra was a professional manager. He was in the position of a chairman, but a lot of people should know that he was basically an employed chairperson. He may be holding stakes here and there, a few shares in some of the companies, but basically he was working on salary. So an interesting thing which is evolving in the corporate world, we talk of ITC, we talk of ICICI Bank. These are now companies which are not being managed by families. They may have been started by a certain individual at some point of time, although not all of them. But then at this point, they're going leaps and bounds. Well, Tata Group, like any other groups, may be having its own set of problems. All groups have their own set of problems. But the larger picture is that Tata Groups is known for corporate governance and Tata Group has been doing well. The brand building across, I have Dilip here, I'm sure he will speak on the brand building of various Tata products, whether it is TCS or whether it is the sinking Jaguar Land Rover when Ratan Tata, I remember, got it, and the way it has been able to maintain its position. And the list is endless. I can just go on Indian hotels, look at the results, because how we judge a company, Beneath, is from the outcome, from the bottom lines and the top lines. What is happening behind the scenes in terms of board of directors? There's always a room for dissent. No board would agree to everything, and that is, I think, from a democratic point of view, that's healthy as well. When a professionally managed company is running in a board, through a board, well, there have to be people who agree to something. There have to be a set of people who disagree to something. So no big deal. In every publicly managed company, there has to be a room for dissent, just the way we speak about the country, that there's a certain party ruling the country. It's always good to have an opposition. So it's likewise in the board, which is healthy. So I don't really want to magnify and amplify this whole issue to say that it was sad, it was disappointing. I respect Mr. Pai a lot, but I beg to differ here completely. And I feel that there's going to be a new CEO very soon, and I'm sure he'll, if not be better than N. Chandra, at least be equally efficient for him. The markets reacted today in the beginning, and I was on your channel in the morning, and I had said that by the time the market closes, I think the markets will absorb this news and people will settle down to the fact that he's still there. First of all, he's not gone right away. And I think the old order changes, Shakespeare said, yielding place to new. So I see no big deal in it. I don't think we need to read too much into it, Vineet.
Okay, all right. Mr. Cherian, do we need to read too much into this stepping down, or do you think that this is perhaps a telltale sign of what's happening in the group, the health of the group post Ratan Tata?
Dr. Kohli and Mohandas Pai have given two very different views. But for me, the most important thing is the brand value of Tata's, and it is beyond share prices. And has it been dented? It has today, because of the fact that you've had a sudden departure. There will be a lot of analysis as to why he departed and what happened. From what I understand, when a professional CEO recognizes that the support he has on the board is neither unanimous nor in the majority, then smart CEOs will usually vacate. Now, remember that Chandrasekaran is not some kind of easy pushover. So he would not resign merely because he's been kept hanging for 6 months. He's far smarter than that. So he must have read the writing on the wall. Now, what does this mean for the brand of Tata's in terms of ethics and values and all that? As Dr. Kohli said, there is always the need to show that the brand can renew itself. So being able to find a successor and being able to do that to fit into what the Tata culture is the other aspect that I would like some light to be thrown on. The third aspect to my mind is the elephant in the room, which is the whole dissonance between the Parsi-led families in the Tata Trust versus what's going on in the operational companies. I think the Tata Trust and the Parsi, push and pull is another factor. And any new incumbent who comes in, unless there is a public issue of the Tata Sons shares, is going to have to learn to navigate between what those old families on the board want and what they respect and what they expect. And the fourth thing is, what does this do for global partnerships and for employees? I think employees were expecting this for a long time. Global partners would also have been appraised of this over a period of time. So I don't think the shock there in terms of waves is as high as what happened in the morning in the markets. And we need to see what will happen in the coming days. If they're able to show a kind of line of sight towards creating the next rung of management, that is what Tatas would benefit from, and the brand would then be enhanced.
All right, fair enough. Dr. Bhattacharya, the markets have responded negatively after this resignation or stepping down. I think a little over 3% was the fall in share. Is this something which is going to be a temporary hiccup for the group? They've seen a lot of problems in the past, as recently as the Air India crash, and of course other issues which the group has been tested on. Is this one of those incidents?
Temporary is a relative term, so it really depends on what period of time we are saying is temporary. Because till the time Tatas are able to find a replacement for N. Chandra and resolve this matter of who will be the chairman, there will be a bit of a turmoil in the market, because a lot of the Tata companies were not really doing well. So if you look at what really happened in the last 9 years since N. Chandra took over, the combined revenues of the Tata Group doubled. And the valuation, the market capitalization went up by 3 times. So that's excellent performance. But also what had happened at the same period of time was certain very large bets were made, including what Dr. Kohli said and what Dilip Cherian just mentioned in terms of electronics, semiconductors, and those are strategically significant bets that were made. Now, these bets, a significant amount of money has been spent, including Air India, which continues to make a very large amount of losses. There has been change in management, even in Air India. So there is a lot of work in progress, and there's a lot of money that is riding on top of it. These were architected by N. Chandra. And therefore, if he's departing, then there will always be a hiccup in terms of how these initiatives and investments will be taken forward. Will they lead to a return on the investment that was being made? What will be the situation 3 to 4 years from now because of N. Chandra departing? And therefore, the market will start factoring those things in. For example, if you look at Air India, it not only continues to bleed money, it has also not improved as a product. So from the time it was taken in from the government, has it become a significantly better product? I think the larger response seems to be that it has not. And therefore, if it continues to be in the form and shape that it is in, it will continue to lose money. And I'm sure N. Chandra had some thoughts of how to change that and turn that around. And therefore, he brought in new management into Air India. But these are all work in progress. Now, for a replacement of N. Chandra to settle down and get a handle on everything that's going on, while there was almost a heart transplant happening, because the Tata Group was being transformed from a state-old set of businesses to a new next-generation set of businesses, if in that turmoil, the architect of that transformation moves out, it's going to be quite challenging. And therefore, the shareholders of the various companies will start discounting some of the stocks and will factor in the turmoil that will happen in the next couple of years. So I don't really think that this is just a hiccup. It'll take some time for the various stocks of Tata's to settle down and ascertain what's the impact. The ones which are, in a way, old school will continue to be going the way it is going. But do keep in mind that even in the old school businesses, such as TCS, which at some point in time was a shining new business, there is a huge pricing margin pressure that's going on. And they've not really been able to transform based on the AI transformation that's happening in the rest of the world. So it is a bit of a challenged business in that sense. And do keep in mind that TCS is the largest cash generator for Tata Sons. So if TCS is not able to transform, new businesses are not yet completely established. There are huge long-term bets made in semiconductor being the prime example. The returns in semiconductor will be coming in 10 years' time. And Tatas are famous for making long-term bets and making bets through the ups and downs of any business cycle. And they're famous for not really closing down any businesses till N. Chandra came in and he started cleaning up the entire stable of Tata Sons businesses. Till this time, there were, large bets were common in Tatas, but the same, person would run the company through those bets. And hence, we do see a period of turmoil as N. Chandra exits.
Dr. Kohli, period of turmoil for Tata Sons as Mr. Chandra will exit. He was the architect behind TCS. He was the one who, in fact, pushed the group to invest into newer avenues, the startup culture. Is that something that the Tata Group is going to go back on now?
No, I really don't think, first of all, Vineet, he's not leaving right away. Whenever there is a severance of this sort which happens, he's put down his resignation. Let's understand the fact on ground. There's still a few months to go, first of all. So it's not like there's a switch and you switch it off immediately. And, everything comes to a standstill. First of all, that's not the case. Second, I would like to stick to my stand of no heavens have fallen down. I really don't want to sound pessimistic because I have seen in my career of 35 years, I've been in touch with the corporate world and dozens of CEOs have come and gone. Obviously, even a junior manager in a company, when he quits, there is a little bit of shake-up for some time. The new person comes in, sometimes there's a gap, the person comes after some time. Most of the time, the corporates would replace this person during the presence of that person. So when a new person comes, he's got his own ideology, he's got his own thinking, and which gradually gets aligned with the corporate ideology. I feel a major part of Tata, now I don't want to sound very literal in this, but a major part of Tata Group is on an autopilot mode. When I say autopilot, when you're in professional management, there's a board of each company, and that each company has got its set of objectives. The top line targets are there, the bottom line targets are there. So shake up at the top, yes, it does impact for some time because it will all depend, by the way, Vineet, on who the new person is. How competent, how efficient the new person is. Is he going to be a foreigner? Is he going to be somebody from within the board? Is he going to be from a nominee from the Noel Tata family, as Mr. Pai was saying, you have to keep pleasing the Parsi families and somebody who's been nominated. So it will all depend on how competent the person is. And I can tell you with assurance that Tata Group cannot afford a lame duck. It cannot afford. It will have to have somebody, because look at the size, look at the magnitude of the empire, look at the diversification that Tata is into.
Sir. All right, we've run out of time, but I get your point. I get your drift, as they say. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Mr. Cherian, Dr. Bhattacharya, Dr. Kohli, thank you so much for joining us. We are dipping into a short break. More on the other side.